Louis, thanks so much for joining us for an Audible session.
Pleasure.
You have a brand new book out, Through the Keyhole, another Theroux pun.
Yeah.
This one is a lockdown diary, 12 months from March 2020 when, everything changed.
Yeah.
How accurate is this to the diary entries, the book, that you've published? How accurate is that in terms of what you wrote at the time and how much have you laid everything bare?
Okay, so it's a real diary, but it's worked up a bit and polished and shaped a bit. I pulled it back. Some of the stuff that was just deranged or would just make me kind of look really bad. Just because, for whatever reason, right? Or just embarrassing, like in the normal way. Just make me look like a knob, right? Or that was super embarrassing for people I'm close to or family, friends. I pulled it back, trimmed it down, and also just wanted to impose a little bit of a shape on it.
You keep some of the knobbishness.
There's a lot of knobbishness in there. Jeez, it's a lot. And a lot of the amazing amount of... there's a lot of drinking in there, even though I cut a lot of drinking out. Yeah, I definitely come across as a prong, to use the technical term. But that's sort of the point of the book in a weird way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how did it feel to be the subject, to be putting your life and your family's lives as the kind of the topic rather than gazing at someone else?
It felt both kind of sort of in a professional sense satisfying. Like I enjoy doing good work and I'm curious about the human condition, and some stuff about family life is just quite funny, right? And I think the idea as well of, a lot of my sense of comedy in general comes out of awkwardness and indignity, and myself being the sort of somehow the fish out of water, the person who's whether I'm on a porn set, like dressed looking ludicrous because I'm dressed up as a park ranger in a gay porn film, which I did in Weird Weekends, or I'm with skinheads and they suddenly take against me because they think I'm Jewish, and you can see I'm physically very scared and I look embarrassingly kind of cowardly. Like that's what I enjoy. And in a similar vein, among my family, I'm very much the butt of the joke. Like, not to say they don't love me, but it's a sort of almost Simpsons dynamic with me as Homer Simpson, where I seem to carry the least authority of anyone in the family, and I'm viewed, especially by my I have 3 sons and 2 of them are teenagers, they view me as totally cringe. And so I enjoy all of that, like just bearing witness to that dynamic, which feels very true to life and very universal. But from a personal perspective, I would have to say it's been quite stressful. I don't know, like I'm aware that there's a lot of people who like my programs, right? And for whom I represent something that some sort of level of journalistic explorer with a bit of seriousness attached, and that's not what the book is. So I'm there are clearly there's some trepidation around showing a warts and all picture of myself, and also exposing my family. I don't love that part of it, but I sort of feel that what I keep telling myself is, I show other families in my programs, so why should I not hold myself and my own family to the same sort of a standard? And of course I got their buy-in. Yet the kids were all consulted. My wife read several drafts and made her notes about what she was happy and not happy with.
And there's some bits in there where you document day-to-day things like Twitter likes.
Yeah.
But that sort of goes hand in hand with some of the other things you've said in the past about how you're sort of always worried if you're good enough, and maybe that need for approval. So in documenting those things, is it that they really mean something to you?
I've always been an anxious person, or someone who thinks about whether I'm doing the right thing or whether I've screwed up in some way. But I think the Twitter so I send out tweets and it's not like and then it gets 20,000 likes and I'm like, oh, that's nice. But the other part of that, though, is just the notion of, which is one of the themes of the book, virality, right? Obviously we've lived through a literally viral 18 months. But alongside that, it's been this notion of things going viral on the internet. And this sort of, like another thing in the book is me going around more or less sort of trying to chase my kids off their phones, right? With very limited success. Or just saying like, just get off YouTube and go out and run around the block or jump on the trampoline, right? And I think that, behind all of that is this feeling that, in a funny way, coronavirus is a secondary it's a state of affairs. Like, in other words, we are all as a species not just being oppressed by the pandemic, but also by myriad kind of social and physical and geographic ailments. Global warming, our addiction to phones, our addiction to sort of outrage. So behind the scenes in the book is that. And so, the Twitter likes is, I think, speaking slightly. There was a section in the book, I cut out a lot. I think I said 70,000 words. There was one section where I got drunk and then got on Twitter and was tweeting along with my programs, thinking I'm being really funny. And then the next morning, Nancy, my wife, was like, what the hell were you doing last night? The stuff you were tweeting was insane. And I looked at it and something had gone wrong. And I'd begun dictating tweets on my phone because I thought it'd be faster. And I was like, wow, I'm not getting many likes on these. And it turned out half of them were gibberish, which is such a 21st century kind of thing, where at no other period in time could you actually sort of have too many drinks and then more or less broadcast your drunken ramblings to literally millions of phones around the world.
So where have you...
I took that bit out, though. I can't remember why. I think there was too many drunken scenes and I took that one out.
And where did you come to in the do I or did I drink too much question?
Well, I definitely drank too much. And I probably still drink too much. But I think it's defined, they say 15 units a week or something, which seems very restrictive. I more or less chose to drink more than you're supposed to and was happy to do it, I mean, I'm not completely in favour of the idea of living a blameless and vice-free life. I sort of feel as though, well, if that's an accomplishment, getting through life without ever having gone too far, with it in any particular, that's not really the aim I don't think that should be to me, that doesn't seem like a particularly exciting or even noble ideal to aspire to. In our heads, right, at any one time, there's all different voices. I don't mean in the sense of being a psychotic or whatever, but do you have a thought every now and then like, oh, am I doing this too much? Should I do this? I wonder if I'm getting enough exercise. I didn't overly worry about it. It was something that was on my mind from time to time, an awareness that, oh, wow, I'd probably pushed the boat out a little too far last night. But at the same time, that's the yin and yang of kind of getting through the day. And alongside it, I was also exercising fiendishly because on day one of the Joe Wicks workout sessions, I did my Joe Wicks with the family, workout with the family, whatever it was. And so every day, even if I'd had a fairly, not riotous, but quite lively sort of session in the kitchen, listening to music till quite late and having a few bourbons, the next morning, generally, I'd be up jumping around doing a Joe Wicks workout. So it was this, and I sort of thought, well, as long as it balances out,
And one of your lockdown projects was being the Dame Vera Lynn of podcasting, as you coined yourself, Grounded.
Yeah.
So there's one interesting thing there's 2 episodes of Grounded where you've got Ruby Wax and you've got John Ronson, and both of them you chat to some extent about how you've been rivals over the year. I think John Ronson says nemesis. Yeah. Why do you think there's been that competition? Why is that competition there?
Both John and I and Ruby and I have been our peers and colleagues in a sense. Like, we're involved in we make documentaries often about America, often about people perceived as culturally offbeat, strange. So we are all in different senses on each other's patch. And I think there was a feeling that because they'd got there first, when I arrived and then in a sense thrived and then almost, I don't want to speak for them, but I think that what I got was the feeling that I'd slightly edged them out, not deliberately, but that it's just, what it is. It's like I suppose in any business, in any cultural realm, there's this slightly childlike but wholly human and understandable feeling of rivalry.
Do you have any other nemeses?
I remember when Sacha Baron Cohen appeared under the guise of Ali G. And I'd been on TV a couple of years on BBC Two making Weird Weekends, and suddenly everything was, Oh my God, have you seen Ali G? Ali G's so funny. Ali G's brilliant. Oh, he's so good. He was on I think it was on the 11 o'clock show, was it? Or the 10 o'clock show, whatever. But I remember thinking, oh, heard enough about that fucking Ali G. Do you know what I mean? But I know Sasha now, and so once you recognise that they're doing something you can't do, and maybe wouldn't want to do, wouldn't want to do because you can't do it. But it's you got to be. I want to just be the best Louis Theroux. Does that make sense?
Finally, how did you find narrating this audiobook, having to read through those diaries all out loud?
It's almost like a kind of Dantean punishment. Like, you think you've written a pretty good book? Well, let's see how good it is after you've been reading it for 25 hours.
Did you give any special voices to your kids or wife?
It's a fine line between being distractingly sort of in character. I can't honestly remember. I think I did enough of an inflection to signal that this is someone else. But I obviously wasn't going to give my kids like
Chris Eubank.
a Chris Eubank accent, or God forbid, make them sound like, someone really weird.
Well, thanks so much, Louis. And I guess people can listen to the audiobook for themselves and judge your accents.
Yes. I hope people enjoy it. I really enjoyed writing it, and it's out there for anyone to look into.
Thanks so much.